Yesterday, a deposit landed in millions of Canadian bank accounts, CPPOASGIS, all arriving together on June 26th, exactly as scheduled. Most seniors checked the number, felt relieved, and moved on. But here is what almost nobody did. Nobody compared that number to the one that is coming on July 29th. Because if you had, you would see something that changes how you plan the next 32 days. For some seniors, July 29th brings a straightforward increase. For others, July 29th brings a number that is quietly lower than what just arrived yesterday. Not because anything went wrong, not because the government made an error, but because two separate calculations happen on that date at exactly the same time, and most seniors only understand one of them. I am going to walk you through both numbers, show you exactly how to compare them for your own situation, and tell you what the gap between them means for the months ahead. And I am going to hold one thing for the very end. There is a move available to seniors right now in this exact 32-day window that most people do not know exists. It cannot be made after July 29th, only before it. I will get to that at the end, because it only makes sense once you understand what those two numbers actually are. I have spent years going through CRA bulletins, Service Canada quarterly releases, and Finance Canada announcements, so that you do not have to spend your weekend trying to make sense of government language. Everything I share today is checked against the most current available figures from official sources. There is nothing to buy here, no pitch at the end. Just plain English information the way it should have been delivered to you already. If that is what you have been looking for, hit subscribe now. I publish this kind of breakdown regularly. And before we go any further, drop a comment telling me what province you are in. I genuinely want to know where the people watching this are located. Now let us talk about the two numbers. The first number is the one that arrived yesterday on June 26th. That deposit was the final payment of the April to June 2026 quarter. Every 3 months, the government reviews OAS using something called the Consumer Price Index, which is simply a measure of how much everyday things cost compared to 3 months earlier. The April to June 2026 rates were set in late March and have been in place for 3 months. They are now finished. Yesterday was the last time those exact rates applied. Here is what that means in specific dollars. For seniors aged 65 to 74, the maximum OAS payment in the April to June quarter was $743.05 per month. For seniors aged 75 and older, the maximum was $817.36 per month. That 75 and older rate is higher because of a permanent 10% enhancement introduced in July 2022. Everyone aged 75 or over receives that top-up automatically for life, and it is built into every payment they receive. Now here is where it gets important. The second number is the one arriving on July 29th. The Government of Canada has confirmed a 1.2% increase for the July to September 2026 quarter. That is the largest single quarterly adjustment of 2026. For seniors aged 65 to 74, the new maximum OAS rises to approximately $751.97 per month. For seniors aged 75 and older, it rises to approximately $827.20 per month. That is the first number comparison. Yesterday versus July 29th for OAS. A difference of roughly $8 to $10 per month, permanently locked in going forward. Let me show you what this looks like through a real example. Meet Helen. She is 68 years old, lives in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and has been collecting OAS for 3 years. Helen is a composite illustration, not a real person, but everything that happens to her happens to thousands of Canadian seniors in exactly this way. Helen checked her deposit yesterday morning. She saw her regular amount land, and she noted it. What she does not realize is that her July 29th deposit will be slightly higher from the OAS side, roughly $9 more per month. She will not notice unless she is looking for it. And if she does notice, she might assume the bank made an adjustment. Very few seniors connect it back to the quarterly indexation of OAS. For Helen, the OAS side of her comparison is uncomplicated. It goes up. Automatically, she does not need to do a thing. But Helen also receives GIS on top of her OAS because her CPP is modest and her total income is low, and the GIS side of her July 29th deposit is a completely different story. That is the second calculation, and it does not work the same way at all. Here is what most seniors get wrong about GIS and July 29th. GIS stands for Guaranteed Income Supplement. It is a monthly non-taxable payment added on top of OAS for seniors whose income falls below a certain level. The maximum GIS for a single senior right now in the April to June 2026 quarter is $1,109.85 per month. That is over $13,000 a year, sitting on top of regular OAS, and every cent of it is tax-free. But unlike OAS, which adjusts automatically each quarter, GIS does not simply go up because costs went up. Every July, Service Canada uses the income you reported on your 2025 tax return to recalculate your GIS from scratch for the entire period from July 2026 through June 2027. If your 2025 income was low, your GIS could go up. If your 2025 income was higher than the year before, your GIS will go down. If your 2025 tax return was never filed, your GIS could stop entirely starting July 29th. Let me introduce you to a man I will call Gerald. He is 72 years old and lives in Sudbury, Ontario. Gerald is a composite illustration, not a real person. But this situation happens to thousands of Canadian seniors every single July. Gerald has received GIS for 4 years. His deposit yesterday included approximately $780 in GIS on top of his OAS. He was counting on a similar number arriving on July 29th. But in 2025, Gerald sold a small piece of land he had inherited. The sale added roughly $18,000 to his reported income for the year. Gerald did not think about GIS when he made the sale. He needed the money, and the land was just sitting there. When Service Canada processes his 2025 tax return this July, they will see that income. That $18,000 stacked on top of his CPP and other income will push Gerald's annual total higher than it was the year before. Depending on his complete income picture, his GIS on July 29th could drop by several $100s per month. Gerald will open his bank account on July 29th, see the new deposit, and feel confused. His OAS went up by $9. His GIS went down by far more than that. The net result is a lower overall deposit than yesterday's payment. He will not understand why until he looks at the GIS recalculation rules, which almost nobody explains to him in advance. That is the second number in the comparison. And for seniors who had any unusual income in 2025, the gap between June 26th and July 29th can be significant. Here is the move I promised at the start, and it is only available in this 32-day window. It is called the Statement of Estimated Income, and the form number is ISP-3041. This form exists for exactly one situation. If your income in 2026 is going to be genuinely lower than what appears on your 2025 tax return, you do not have to sit and wait for July 2027 for your GIS to reflect that. You can submit this form to Service Canada right now, estimate what you expect to earn or receive in 2026, and ask them to recalculate your GIS based on that lower number. If your estimate is accepted, your GIS can begin adjusting upward within a few months rather than a full year from now. Think about what that meant for Gerald. If Gerald had submitted Form ISP-3041 in early 2026, showing that his 2026 income would be lower because the land sale was a one-time event and he had no similar income coming this year, Service Canada could have recalculated his GIS upward sooner than July 2027. He would not have had to absorb a reduced GIS for the entire 12-month period from July 2026 to June 2027. The form does not erase what happened on his 2025 return, but it allows the government to look at where he actually is right now instead of where he was last year. For Helen, the same tool matters for a different reason. If anything in 2026 is different from 2025, whether her income went down because she stopped working part-time or because a one-time payment she received last year will not repeat, she can use Form ISP-3041 to make sure her GIS for the coming year reflects her current situation, not last year's one. You can find this form by searching ISP-3041 on the Service Canada website or by calling Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914. There is no cost, there is no advisor required. It is a straightforward income estimate form that any senior can complete and submit. In the right situation, this form can recover hundreds of dollars per month in GIS over the following 12 months. The window to make it count before July 29th is exactly 32 days from today. Here is exactly what I want you to do this week, and none of it costs a single dollar. First, pull out your most recent Notice of Assessment from the Canada Revenue Agency and look at line 15,000. That is your total income for 2025. Compare it to the year before. If it went up for any reason, a sale, a withdrawal, a lump sum, anything at all, your GIS on July 29th will likely be lower than what arrived yesterday. Knowing that now gives you time to act before the 29th. Second, go to the Service Canada website and search for Form ISP-3041, the Statement of Estimated Income. Look at the form. Ask yourself honestly whether your 2026 income is lower than what line 15,000 showed for 2025. If it is, do not wait. Submit that form as soon as possible. Every week you wait is a week of delayed adjustment. Third, log into your My Service Canada account and write down both your current OAS amount and your current GIS amount. Then check again on July 29th. Compare the two deposits side by side. If the number goes down when you expected it to go up, you now know exactly which part changed and exactly which form to use to begin addressing it. If you know someone who received their deposit yesterday and has not thought about July 29th yet, please share this video with them. That 32-day window closes whether they know about it or not. Everything in this video is general information to help you ask better questions and understand the system more clearly. It is not personal financial advice. Your situation is your own, and before you submit any form or make any income decision, please confirm it against your own CRA documents or speak with someone who can see your full financial picture. Coming up next, I am breaking down the one-letter Service Canada sends each July that tells you exactly how your GIS was calculated and what most seniors do when they receive it that costs them money they could have recovered. That video is linked in the description. If you are not subscribed yet, now is a good time, because this is exactly the kind of thing I cover every single day.